Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video from me, Pickles Parker Reviews, and not just any video, it's a Doctor Who Series 13 news video, and not just any Doctor Who Series 13 news video, we have a trailer for Doctor Who Series 13, and not just a trailer, but lots of other things that have come out of San Diego Comic Con and the panel that the cast plus Chibnall have been doing for San Diego Comic Con. I say a lot of stuff, let's be real, not much stuff has really come out, because this is Chibnall's reign. He likes to keep a lot of stuff under lock and key. He's not going to reveal all too much, and ultimately the trailer really reveals nothing, but the more interesting stuff, which is not what you'd really think. Usually you'd think the trailers where all the interesting stuff is going to be and no one really cares about the rest of the panel, but ultimately the panel seems to be a lot more interesting than the actual trailer, and some of the stuff that Chibnall has been saying has actually got me really intrigued. I wouldn't say happy, because there are lots of things that he's revealed that I'm a bit cautious of, but they've certainly got me intrigued, and I think I'll discuss those in this video. Well, of course I'm going to discuss them. What else am I going to discuss in this video? Now, speaking about the trailer, and it's your typical Chris Chibnall era Doctor Who trailer, in which it's just kind of combined with loads of cool shots of landscapes, the companions just kind of staring into space and, you know, running away, and the Doctor doing doctorish things and saying doctorish things, and it doesn't really reveal all too much. I remember that Series 12 trailer, which at least revealed the Cyberman and some monsters. This doesn't even reveal anything, and I'm not even talking about established monsters. It doesn't reveal any monsters, which really reminds me of that Series 11 trailer, if you remember, that we got, which was just like a load of landscapes and the Doctor saying loads of doctorish things, but with no monsters, which, looking back in hindsight, I rewatched that trailer, and it actually gives us a really different vibe to the Series 11 we actually got. It promises a better series, despite the trailer being a bit fun on the ground. It promises a much better series with a much better Doctor than we got in Series 11, but that's besides the point. Let's talk about the Series 13 trailer. Yeah, it didn't offer us much. However, what I do like in this is Jodie, and again, the trailer is very short, we don't see much, and this might just be me projecting something onto her Doctor that isn't really there, but to me, she just seems a bit more comfortable in the role. I just get this sort of feeling that Jodie is going to be improved in the role this time around, and I know I said that she was improved in Series 12, in contrast to Series 11, and I almost feel like she's really finding her feet. There were just a couple bits, like the ending of the trailer where she's just like, you got that bye to Yaz, and she just runs off. I don't know what it is, but she just feels more like the Doctor. She feels as if she's maybe got more of a grip on the role now, and this may be her final series, this may not be, I don't know. But ultimately, it does certainly feel as if she's got more of a grip on the role, and even though I often do slag Jodie Whittaker off, well, not Jodie Whittaker, but more so the character of the Doctor, Jodie seems like a lovely person, she's a great ambassador for the show, but in terms of the actual character of her Doctor, I have criticised quite a lot, primarily just because I can see the potential there, but the characterisation just never really seems to be there for me, and it often seems like Jodie, she's trying her best, but she doesn't really seem to have found her Doctor, and that results in her being fine, but not really seeming comfortable in the role. However, in the brief glimpses, and I mean emphasis on the brief, in this trailer, I don't know whether it's just me, but I just got more kind of a vibe that perhaps she's found her Doctor more, and she's going to be more of a well-rounded presence in this series, which I'm all for. Also, the combination of the Doctor, Yaz and Dan seem to be quite a fun TARDIS trio. I think cutting it down from 4 TARDIS members to 3 was a big option. I know people are saying yes, but we're still going to have too many companions. I've never had an issue with 3 companions, and I think having Yaz as the more established companion and introducing Dan on his own, I think that's going to be really interesting, and that's going to be a really fun TARDIS team. And despite I think the idea of Graham, Ryan and Yaz, yeah, I think that's an okay idea, and I think the actors all had decent chemistry. I think Bradley Walsh especially was good. It always felt a bit forced to me, like when they were getting on and calling themselves a family, it almost felt a bit forced to me. It always felt a bit kind of surface level. It never felt like they were genuine friends. Whereas in this trailer, already this team seems to gel more together, and I think that's because they seem to all come from different backgrounds, and therefore the opposites attract. The fact that they're not similar, I think, is actually making a stronger bond in this TARDIS team, and it looks to be pretty exciting. And we've got some cool environments. I say cool environments, I'm talking about one cool environment. There's this weird green-esque landscape, which sees, it seems like Yaz and potentially the Doctor almost riding on a broomstick. It was really odd. I don't think it is a broomstick, but it kind of gave me vibes of, like, you know when you were a kid and you watch those, like, weird Halloween movies? Like, I think there's one called, like, Halloween Town, where there's, like, a town and it's, like, Halloween. I can't remember, but I don't know why. It just gives me this vibe of them going into, like, this world of, like, castles, and there's green smoke and they're, like, riding a broomstick. I could be seeing things, so that could be nothing to do with it. That's just the vibes I got of this kind of witch thing, which, as I say, could be completely false, but that's kind of the vibes it's giving me. And whether it's just an alien planet, like maybe it's Sontar, maybe, you know, it is like an alternate dimension with witches, you know, I'd love for them to do maybe some more gothic stuff, because I love stories like the gothic stuff you used to get in the classic series, like the Philip Hinchcliffe era and stuff like State of Decay with the great vampires. So if they were going down that gothic route with maybe exploring witches, that would be really cool. But even if it is just a cool design for an alien planet, that would be really nice, because a lot of people have mentioned, especially in Series 12, how we never left Earth all too much. Well, we didn't leave Earth, and we didn't leave Earth apart from when we went to Gallifrey, and ultimately, yeah, I would agree that it's really would be nice to get more variety in locations, and hopefully we'll get that in this trailer. And yeah, apart from that, we don't get much. I think it's just seeing the TARDIS team vibe and gel, which is nice. We're getting a good sense of their bond, and I already have high expectations for them, and I already think they're going to be better than the quote-unquote fam was. Which yeah, I've already got higher hopes for this TARDIS team. And higher hopes for Jodie. She seems better, some of the cool landscapes. I was a bit disappointed that we didn't get any shots of any monsters. As I said, not even like Sontarans or Weeping Angels or Daleks or whatever. I mean just like any old monsters. Like it just seems like there's like this threat, and the Doctor's like, oh, this is this real serious threat, and it's like, this is the Doctor's most dangerous adventure yet. And it's like, yeah, but what is she running from? Like, come on, there's a scene where the Doctor quickly closes the TARDIS doors and she's like, oh, we need to get in. But what is she running from? I'd really like to see that, or at least a glimpse of maybe a sinister evil. And I want to touch on the returning monsters, because it feels as if the BBC aren't putting them in there, even though we already know that they're in there. It reminds me of when they announced Captain Jack for Revolution of the Daleks, despite the fact we knew he was already coming into that story like months before. Like, it's just like, we know these things, so why not just show it us? Like, they'll probably do a separate announcement just for pictures like, oh, the Sontarans are back, but we already know, so how about give us a shot of them in this trailer? So I don't understand why they don't do that, and just little glimpses, you know. It's a bit of a shame that they haven't done that, but either way, the trailer, it really doesn't give us much, but ultimately, for what it does give us, I'm more thumbs up than thumbs down. And we also have a new character, Jacob Anderson as Vinder. Now, there was a special guest at this Comic-Con panel, and loads of people were theorising, or is it David Tennant, Catherine Tate? I saw Mr. TARDIS put his money on Matt Smith last night, which really made me just get my hopes up, because if Matt Smith came back, I don't know what I'd do. I would punch the air for starters, but honestly, I don't know what I'd do. That would be a dream come true, but obviously it was nothing like that. It was just Jacob Anderson as Vinder, which, I mean, we all probably should have known that it was going to be something small, like they weren't just going to bring a Doctor back, and I wouldn't want them to. If it was just going to be a surprise, I'd much rather have the surprise of someone like Matt Smith or David Tennant turn up at the end of an episode and you're like, oh my god, what? Than them just get announced in a panel or somewhere. But yeah, I don't know who Jacob Anderson is. I haven't watched Broadchurch, I haven't watched Game of Thrones, which you could see me as a man of very little taste or a man of a lot of taste, depending on what your thoughts are on those shows. It's another person who's obviously worked with Chibnall before. I don't know much about him, but I've heard from people like Harbo that apparently he seems to be a good actor and a decent guy, so hopefully, you know, he'll be a good inclusion. I don't know if he's going to be a companion or not, but I presume he might just be more of a recurring character who's not really on the TARDIS team, akin to someone like Captain Jack or Missy or River Song, which I'd be all for personally, because in a video on the Roof Doctor, which you haven't seen yet, that I recorded, and I really need to get on with editing, one of the main elements is that I feel as if the modern era, they've each had that kind of recurring, like, sci-fi character who can challenge the Doctor, who's a companion, but not really. Like, the RTD era had Captain Jack, Moffat had River Song, and Chibnall, rather than create his own character, just went in and got Captain Jack again, and it didn't really feel as if it worked. If Jacob Anderson is maybe filling this kind of role, then I'd be all for it, because I'm all for Chibnall creating his own characters rather than leeching off others from other eras. You know, make a stand, make this feel like your own era, and I'm all for that. But yeah, you know, there's not much to him, but he looks like a cool character, and he looks like he's going to be from the future, so it'll be nice to see a character interact with the TARDIS crew for a substantial amount of time that's actually from the future, because I've been getting fed up of having 21st century companions. I want to see someone from a different time period, and if he's from the future, then I'm all for that. Now that's it for the trailer, but there's been some certainly interesting stuff that has been being said in the panel, and the main thing is the whole idea of Chris Chibnall said that Series 13 will all be one story, quoted as saying, "It's definitely the most ambitious thing we've done since we've been on the series." Now, this is interesting to me, because lots of people were theorising when the series was shortened to 8 episodes, if we were going to get kind of a self-contained all-one story thing. And I kind of doubted that idea, but it seems as if this might be what we're getting. But I've used the phrase one story loosely, because looking at the trailer, we still seem to be getting very distinct stories. So I'm very perplexed as to what he means by one story, and mainly because we've had series arcs throughout the modern series, and ultimately I'm interested to see where this one story idea differs from the story arc, because the story arc is kind of, we've got these standalone stories that are all linked together through this grand story arc, even though a lot of the series ultimately have lots of episodes that aren't actually connected to the arc, but you know what I mean, that's the general gist. So what does he mean by this one story idea? Does he mean that it's literally 8 interconnected parts that are literally one story, like not just one arc, one actual story, or does he just mean one arc, but it's very present in each story, rather than it being present in some stories and some not, like his arc in Series 12, which I thought was very poorly plotted? So are we getting something more akin to The Key to Time or Trial of a Time Lord, which aren't really, I wouldn't call those one stories, they're just kind of, the Doctor's got to track down something in each story, and then they're all kind of linked, you know, through like Trial of a Time Lord. There's one overarching narrative, which is the trial, but which you keep cutting away from, but ultimately the Mysterious Planet, Mind Warp, Terror of the Vervoids, and The Ultimate Foe are all 4 very distinct stories in their own right, so I'm very interested to see what this really means. As I said, I think Series 12's arc was quite poorly plotted, and I didn't think Chibnall really handled that arc well at all, so I'm a bit cautious as to how he's going to handle this, but maybe if it's all woven and really interconnected, then he'll have a stronger grasp on this, and it'll make it flow better, which was my main issue with his Series 12 arc. I do think that the Timeless Child is probably going to be somewhere in this big story, which I kind of like and don't like at the same time, because I don't like the Timeless Child idea, you guys know that. I would kind of like if it was just left and never mentioned again, but then also, like, if you're gonna throw it away, what was the point of including it? So, you know, if you're going to include it, then you might as well do something with it, and if it is included in this, hopefully it goes somewhere interesting. Some people have been criticising the one story ideas, some people not. I must admit, I do like the self-contained stories. Not all the time, I like a good strong arc in my series, but I like some stories that stand out on their own, or serve other purposes, like Series 5. Not every episode is tied in with an arc, but you get certain episodes which do contribute in other ways, like Amy's Choice, nothing to do with the cracks in time, but in terms of the characters, it contributes something massive. So I like my series to be well balanced between the arc and the standalone stories, and this one story, if you don't like the story arc, then you're not going to enjoy the rest of the series, like the whole series, because if it's so intertwined. And also, does it take that aspect away from Doctor Who, that Doctor Who isn't like other shows it's, you know, more standalone, new adventure every week. I don't know, but my bets are that it's just going to be something akin to Trial of a Time Lord. I'm a bit worried as to how woven this will be, and obviously it needs to be a good story, because if it's not a good story, it's going to tarnish the entire series. But I don't have faith in Chibnall. I was about to say I have faith in Chibnall. I'll be honest, I don't. I'm really a bit worried about this, but ultimately I need to have faith in Chibnall that he's going to do the right thing. Something Davis brought up on Twitter is this whole series going to be written by Chibnall? And I really hope not, because some stories I like that Chibnall's written. Spyfall I thought was pretty strong, but my favourite episodes in this era have all been ones that Chibnall hasn't written. Spyfall's up there, and obviously he wrote that, but stuff like Nikola Tesla's Knives of Terror, which is obviously written by someone else. So I do think you need other writers in there, you need that creativity, and I hope that Chibnall's not the only writer, and that the fact they haven't announced any other writers isn't a bad sign. But yeah, whatever, this one story thing is interesting. They obviously said that there's going to be lots of returning monsters in the panel as well, which we already knew. We knew the Sontarans and Weeping Angels are in there, but the fact he said lots, I presume that means more than 2, so perhaps there's more villains out there that we haven't seen in set pictures. But yeah, overall, we learned a lot about this series and not a lot at the same time from this panel and this trailer. But ultimately, from what we did learn, I'm intrigued. I'm a bit cautious, but I'm intrigued. I think it could either be terrible or it could be absolutely brilliant. It could go one of 2 ways. But yeah, I'm just glad that we've actually got some news. And yeah, bring on Series 13 later this year. But yes, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this Series 13 news video. If you enjoyed it, hit like and hit subscribe if you want to see more Doctor Who content from me and other content as well. And if you specifically want to get more Series 13 news content, I'll try my best to update you with certain things. Not every single thing, only stories that I find quite interesting. But yeah, there may be more content like this, so stay tuned for that. What did you think of what we got from the panel, the trailer, the one story idea? Do you think it's good? Do you think it's a bad idea? Whatever you think, drop your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'd be really interested to read your thoughts. But yes, thank you guys for watching, and of course, a goodbye.